drawings on the wall, and this is something I saw on the iPad, so I thought it'd be cool to use it for a video or something like that, because it's like an avatar thing. And I'm not going to use this for all my videos, obviously. I just thought it'd be cool for this one. So, this is part 2 of my drawings on the wall, because my last story, you know how she found out? Well, before those doodles, I had other doodles. So, back in like February or something like that of this year, I remember I was dancing around because I was supposed to be getting ready for bed. But instead, I decided to jump around and stuff like that. I was supposed to be brushing my teeth and getting pajamas. So then, I decided, what if I drew on the wall and see what it looks like? I can just scrub it after, right? Like scrub as in like clean with like napkin and stuff like that. So I drew on the wall with black paint marker, which is basically paint but in a marker. So then I drew on the wall, and then I went in the thing. I grabbed the spray and paper towels. I tried scrubbing it. I drew my character's face. It looked really cute, but not worth keeping on the walls. So then I went to the thing and I scrubbed it. And it didn't come off, and I was like, oh no, it's not coming off. Did I use permanent marker or something? So then I sprayed the wall instead of the napkin. That also didn't work. So I was panicking. So I had these like very folded up old pictures on the wall of like my birthday, and they were getting folded up by the humidity or something. So I put those over it. They were over it in the first place, but I kind of moved them over. Why? Um, but I moved them over, and then I was like, well, I really hope she doesn't find out because this was around the time she was talking about organizing my room and cleaning it. So I was like, I knew she was gonna be taking stuff off the walls, like taking stuff off the walls, taking stuff off the floor, like literally everything for organizing my room. And so then I kept it there for a day. So then the next day I tried doing more techniques. Didn't work. So then I decided, hey, what if I put tape over this and then the marker will come off. So I did some test scratches that made my wall even more of a mess. And so then my doodle ended up looking creepy with all the marks that I had on there. So I was just like, oh no, now I just made the doodle even worse by adding more marker on it thinking it was gonna come off. So then after that was staying on there, I decided to put white paint over it. And then I did that, and it was sitting on the walls for a while. And then literally like a week later, she was like, "How about we take these off?" And I was like, "Okay." And I was kind of shaking because our wall's like an eggshell white or like a off white. So I thought maybe she'd notice that it was too white or something, but she didn't say anything. So then I decided, well, let's keep it on there for a little bit. And so then I kept it on there a little bit, and it was going just fine. And until I used my scrubbable um purple marker because I wanted to see it on the wall again. And I was even saying in my mind, you don't want to end up like your character. You don't want to end up like your character. But I did. It was literally right in the entry where she opens my door, Romley. And so then she was she came in my room for a long time, didn't notice it. Until one time she came in my room and she was like, "What did you do here?" And I'm like, "What?" And I'm shaking. And she's like, "This." And I'm like, "Oh no, she found out about it. I thought she'd never find out about it." So then I was like, "Oh no." And she was like, "What's this purple stuff?" And I'm like, "Marker." And she's like, "Why?" And she's laughing at me because I'm like, "I'm scared if you're gonna get mad at me of what I actually did." So then I finally told, and then she was like, "What, paint? Clay?" I'm like, "Not clay." And she's like, "Paint?" And I'm like, "Why do you think I'm so naughty?" And then, like, all of a sudden, I was like, fine, I used white paint marker instead, and she was like, why? And I'm like, I don't know, and she was like, I told you to stop drawing on the walls. So then I felt guilty for my character's head that was sitting there for the longest time because I thought she knows that too. And so then I just she was using a sponge and scrubbing the wall like last time it came off. And so then I decided to grab them for sponges. And then I grabbed spray and all that and I scrubbed the paint off, thinking since it was sitting on there for so long, wouldn't it erase with the black paint marker too? But no, it was just revealing and revealing the doodle. And I was like, oh no! So I had white sticker paper. So I sticked that white sticker paper on the thing, thinking like, oh, she's probably just gonna think I'm drawing something, right? Like on paper. So then, the first day she comes to my room and I was shaking, trying to hide the doodle. And so, then I was like, kind of like, she's blowing up my chair. My chair is like one of those inflatable ones, so she was blowing it back up because the air got outside of it from me sitting on it. And I was just talking and stuff like that, trying to distract her because I saw she was looking at the walls. And so then the next day after that, she never noticed the first day. But then the next day, I was hugging her, right? And she had this weird, like, grossed out face. And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Ah!" And like I was just scared. So then I literally tried my best with my little muscles, trying to pull her away from taking that paper off. And she was like, "What?" And then so like, and she was laughing and stuff. So then I was like, ah! Because if I doodled on the wall again after the purple one, I would get my markers taken away. So then I went in her room and I was just yelling like, please don't take my colors away. And she was like, I'm not. And then and then I was like, please don't. And I was just like, it won't come off. It won't come off. You need magic eraser. The guy told Zanny to get magic eraser. So I told him to get magic eraser. He never did, but I told him when he goes to Dollar Tree next time or some other store, he'd go get magic eraser. So then she was like, I think I said magic remover. And she was like, what's magic remover? And she said magic eraser. And I was like, yeah, magic eraser. So then I was like, it won't come off. It won't come off without magic eraser. I tried. It won't come off. And she's like, it will. Calm down. So then she was like scrubbing it. And I was like, no. She found out about my top secret doodle that I've had on there for the longest time. That was one of my oldest doodles. That doodle was about like 5 months old. Well, 2 months old at the time. Maybe like 2 or 3 months old. But 5 months old now. And so then I told her the whole story. And she was like, oh my god. And I was just so freaked out. But I felt so relieved once she erased that doodle. It was just so like, ugh, for me. And I remember when she was organizing my room, I remember she was moving my desk over. And I was literally panicking, thinking she was going to take those pictures off of there. And she didn't, thankfully. But I was just literally panicking so hard that she was going to take those doodles off. Not doodles off, those pictures off. And I was just scared. So until then, those doodles were staying, but I was like, how am I gonna get to those doodles now if my desk is literally right in front of them? And she even asked me, how did you get over there to draw if your desk is right over there? And I was like, it was before you moved my desk. And I was like, that's proof how old they are. So yeah, that is part 2 of the big doodles. Also, yeah, the iPad screen recorder audio is not great.